Dan, welcome back. It's Mayor's Monday again. Of course, you're not a mayor. You're not elected. You don't have to go through that, but you still got a lot of stuff going on down here in Clover, and we don't get the chance to always talk about it, so it's good to make the trip down here and kind of cover everything all at once.
Very good. Appreciate that you've done that. Yes, as administrator of the village and taking care of the day-to-day operations, there certainly is a lot going on in the village and a lot to talk about.
And of course, it's your job to put the piece all together. And one of the things that you and I were just talking about a little bit is you've got a great proposal that I guess I don't necessarily say these fall into your lap occasionally. I'm sure they do, but there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes to make something happen in the old Econo Foods building. You've got a project you're pretty excited about.
Exactly. We're very excited because the Econo Foods building has been sitting vacant for more than 15 years, and we have a developer that's come forward with a proposal. Now, that proposal required some changes. We had to change zoning and land use on that parcel for what they want to do. For example, what they want to do is convert the Econo Foods building to a mixture of some storage, but also a light manufacturer that wants to use the property. That manufacturer would start with about 15 jobs, and the hope is over several years that they would expand to 30 jobs. But we also wanted to be careful because of the neighborhood that's around there, so we used a unique zoning district. It's called Planned Development District, and that way we could tailor kind of what specifically happens on that property to the zoning. So for example, we don't want to see many storage in the area. We don't want to see stored outdoor storage itself, and so those are requirements. And then the developer will be required to put together a site plan, and the site plan actually becomes part of the zoning. So that's the Econo Foods part of the building, but then in front along Post Road, part of the process there, or the thought process, is to develop additional commercial, maybe light manufacturing mixes, similar in nature to what Precision Glass did in the village of Whiting. Very beautiful facility, works well with the corridor, and we think that that type of use would be a great fit up on the north end of the village of Clover. And so that area with the Post Road frontage will be set aside for that. And then there's a third piece, it's a vacant piece south of the Econo Foods building, and then we'll work on plans with respect to that. Again, probably light manufacturing type of mix back there as well. So again, very excited about finally putting that building and seeing new development in the north end of the Post Road corridor.
And you said this is a building that is sat vacant for 15 years. I mean, that's obviously kind of tells us it's time something gets done with this, and it's good somebody's come forward with a vision like this, because it sounds like what you're talking about here isn't something that's going to work everywhere in the village. This isn't something that you could work into, say, the old Shopco building right now.
Exactly. Properties are unique in their nature and where they are and what's around them. So, right, you look very carefully at what you work very carefully as to what will work and what won't work, and then you try to modify your plans. And in that particular area, we had a very unique proposal that was submitted to us, and the developer worked very well, and the real estate agents who represented them worked very well with the village to come up with a plan that we felt will work. And ultimately, the village board thought as well, and they approved that last evening.
So what is your timeline on this then? Obviously, there's not a lot you can say about it right now. You can't tell me what's going in there, but things sound like they're moving in the right direction to where we're going to have an announcement on this fairly soon.
Exactly. So the goal now is that the developer and the real estate agents have approval from the village of Clover. What they will do then is the developer will go back and actually purchase the property. We anticipate that will happen relatively soon. By relatively soon, we mean the next month to 2 months. And then, of course, it'll probably take another couple of months as they develop the plans for specifically what they want to do. So we're hoping by the end of the year that we have action on the Econo Foods building, and then we're really hopeful that Post Road project could potentially happen in 2020.
So this is something that it's going to take some time, but it's something that you really should be excited about, because manufacturing jobs are always good jobs to add to your economy.
Absolutely.
So we'll look forward to seeing where this goes in the near future. You said you don't have much right now. As speaking of vacant buildings, on anything along the lines of Shopco, we know that's been in the news here recently. Do you feel like you maybe just kind of hit a wall, or you're just waiting for the right offer to come around with that building?
Right. Shopco is a situation where obviously there's a certain size to that building as well, so it limits the number of potential users that would be there. So it's a matter of shopping around and, again, finding the right partner with respect to that project. The Yonkers building is right next to that. That is also vacant. When they closed down, a little smaller footprint, but again, the same situation. We've had some interest in especially the Yonkers buildings. but in the end, we're not able to make those deals come together. But there still is some interest, so we keep working on plans and thoughts and ideas, and hopefully we can, get something specific happening soon in those properties. It's obviously always the goal, and always what you do is try to help those with the vacant buildings to try to fill them up.
Is there any possibility then that you can maybe be combining the two buildings or putting that into one project, or maybe, I guess you could say, redeveloping in the near future?
Well, sure, there's definitely a possibility that, you bring both parcels together, especially if you go on to, say, Plan B. Plan A would be to find users for those specific buildings and then move them in and you're good to go. Plan B would be time goes by and you have not been able to fill those buildings, so now what do we look at from a redevelopment standpoint? So at that point in time, you certainly might look at combining those buildings or doing something completely different there. Time will tell which way we need to go.
Yeah, always gotta stay creative like this in this business sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
And speaking of being creative, everybody likes to be creative with their beer these days. You knew it was going to be brought up here eventually. You've got an exciting, for somebody like me anyway, an exciting new brew project that's going to be coming to the village in the near future, actually just approved this week as well, correct?
Absolutely. So a microbrewery will be located on Mecca Drive, so that's down on County Trunk Highway B. It's across from the medical facility on Mecca Drive, and basically Backcountry Brewery will be locating there. And ultimately, again, it's a smaller brewery. It won't be, extremely large in size, but we're very excited to bring another microbrewer with new products for people to try. Obviously, the new beers and the microbrewers are quite the fad right now, so it'll be great to have additional selections in Portage County, adding to the mix of the folks that we have already.
Yeah, absolutely. And because we just saw it with the Stevens Point Brewing Company. They've won a couple of national awards. Every time an award like that gets won, your city is attached to that. Your area is attached to that. That also, creates a buzz for your city in its own small way.
Exactly, and we've got some great examples. The Stevens Point Brewery is a wonderful example. They have the longest history. In the village of Clover, we have Oso Brewing, and they've been around for a while now, and they've got some wonderful products as well. And of course, there's the brewery in Amherst as well, and I believe there's one up in Rochhold also. So it's nice to see that we've got a range from larger production to smaller production, but certainly a lot of different craft beers to taste and try. And I think this area is becoming somewhat of a destination for people to come and do those tours and go from one brewery to the next to try out those products. So it's a great way to also increase tourism.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point. It's tourism dollars. There's people like me that will go and seek out these brewing companies, will pay $10 for the tour and the souvenir glass, and stay around and maybe stay the night as well in your area. And there's economic development to be had with something like this, even though on the surface it may seem a bit silly or something that we say tongue-in-cheek like because of it's beer and it's alcohol, but there's some business to be had with it.
Well, there certainly has. The Stevens Point Clover Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, they actually help arrange tours with the local breweries to bring people in for that very reason. So yeah, it actually is kind of a new form of tourism, and it's working pretty well.
We of course put the disclaimer on there, do that responsibly though as well. Always. Before we let you go, this is coming up a big weekend here in Clover as well. You've got your own celebration, your community celebration. Tell us what folks can expect when they come down here for Celebrate Clover here later this month.
Very good. So Celebrate Clover will be on Saturday, July 27th. Starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. This is the 9th year we've been doing it, so it's been going very, very well. Probably the highlight of the day is we have free activities for families and children, so parents can bring their family down and enjoy all sorts of activities, from playing on equipment to coloring to face painting, just a ton of things to do during the day, all free of charge. We have music throughout the day. We have right now we have over 50 craft vendors that will be attending Celebrate Clover, and over 30 of our businesses from the area will be there as well in an outdoor expo area. So lots of extra activities there as well. Highlight of the day is always the fire departments. They come in and they have their water fights, and so that's a big hit with the crowds. We do pay tribute to our veterans. We really thank them for their service, so it's a great time and great capability for us to once a year say thank you for your service in kind of a more relaxed setting, and so we look forward to doing that as well. And then, of course, at the end of the evening, we always have a pretty spectacular fireworks show. It's kind of the hit of the event, and so we look forward to showing off the show again this year.
Gotcha. And this is going to be a one-day event, or is this going all weekend?
This will be a one-day event on Saturday the 27th. Starts at 9. It will go till midnight. And again, lots of food, lots of activities to do during the course of the day, music, young people dancing, older folks crooning the oldies, a couple of bands. It will just be just a fun time during the course of the day. So we invite everybody to come down and visit with family and friends and have a great time.
Absolutely. Tell us what we need to know as far as parking, getting to the event, things like that. Is there anything specific you want people to remember before they show up?
Sure. So there are plenty of parking areas, so please look for the signage as you come down. There are two very large parking areas. One is basically on the corner of Maple Drive and Hoover Avenue, so right kind of adjacent to the Menards shopping center. That's a pretty large area. And then about 2 years ago, we added a parking area on the very south end of Lake Packwell. A lot of people don't realize that, but look for that. There's plenty of parking in there. There should be some parking also a little bit on the east side or west side of Hoover, excuse me. So we do have plenty of parking. If you have handicap needs, we have a special handicap parking area as well. So we should have plenty of room to fit everybody in for parking this year as part of the event.
Absolutely. And of course, plenty of space for everybody to spread out and enjoy their time outside, as long as the weather cooperates, of course. Correct?
Exactly. We have someone in charge of the weather, so they better do their job well again this year, and we'll have beautiful weather. I think so far only one year the weather was a little bit cooler, but every other year it's just been gorgeous weather, so we're hoping for that again this year.
Again, great excuse to get outside and enjoy everything that you have to offer down here in Clover. Well, Dan, we always appreciate the time, and we'll look forward to chatting again later here in the year.
Very good.